Hi, my name is Christina Basile, and I am here at KLVW-TV, and I am going to interview some very special Players Club members that have been with the Players Club for many years and have done very many wonderful things. This year, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Players Club. So without further ado, my name is Christina Basile. I'm the Vice President of the Players Club. We have Sarah Zentelli Falk. We have Florence Galloway Markowitz. We have Judy Corelli Stout and Ellie Kravitz. So I'm going to start with a few basic questions, and then we're going to get into some great conversation about the last 50 years. Not maybe quite 50 years, but we're going to hear some great moments at the Players Club. So Sarah, tell me, when and why did you join the Players Club?
I joined the Players Club because I had heard that there was meetings that were very interesting, that when you went to the meeting, you weren't sure if it was going to be off the cuff or whether it was going to do poetry. And every time I went, I was always surprised that there was something different and special about it. And that's why I stayed for over 25 years.
Wow, 25 years at the Players Club. That is so awesome. So wonderful. And Florence, why did you join?
Okay, I joined because actually the Players Club was the first club I joined, and I'm living here, it's going to be 34 years. And the Players was the first club because I've always had an interest in theater. And at that time, Miriam Schuster was the president. And it was the practice to ask everybody who was brand new to say, why did they come to the Players Club? Why did you join this club? And I got up, the place was filled with people for the meeting. And I got up and I said, I've always been interested in theater. I really like the idea of theater and I want to do something. And I don't know what else I said, but I sat down and then I stood up and I said, I want to be a star.
And that's why we're all here, right?
And Miriam made me a star.
That is wonderful. Judy, did you join the Players Club?
Well, I've been singing and dancing since I was 5 years old. It's been just part of my life, my whole life. And as soon as we moved to Leisure Village West, I found that there was a club that did the things that I love to do. So therefore, first thing I went to was a Players Club meeting, and we joined, my husband and I both joined, because we had done things on stage together. So that's how I became a Players Club person.
And Ellie, when and why did you join the Players Club?
Well, I love being on the stage. And when we lived in Fairlawn, we did Guys and Dolls. And I had the bug. I was Adelaide. And when we came here 28 years ago, I joined the Players Club because I enjoyed being on the stage and acting.
Were you ever an officer of the Players Club or just a regular member?
Just a member.
Just a member. And how about you, Judy?
I've been just about everything in the Players Club, mostly directing and writing musicals.
And what plays did you write?
I wrote Route 66, Flying High, USO in Italy, and Bosom Buddies. Wrote the four of them. Probably my favorite is the USO in Italy. It was a great cast. We had a lot of fun. The costuming was wonderful. And the music was just fantastic. So I would say that was probably my favorite, but all four of them really did well, and I was proud of them.
Now, did you act in the play or did you direct the play?
I directed them, yes. And I also sang in some of them. Yeah.
Awesome. So were you behind the scenes or were you an actress?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Well, I was an actress, and I loved acting. It was such an experience, and some people had to be word perfect, and I would sometimes have to fill in if people forgot. We did a scene one time where George Spencer was my co-star at one point. And he came into the scene afterwards, and we had to figure out how to get out of that, because I said, "You're in the wrong scene."
Oh. That's the biggest fear of an actor.
But we got out of it. Oh, we managed to get out of everything, every little fix. But I was also, I started as secretary of the Players, and I was president of the Players, and so was my husband, Milton Markowitz. He was a great actor too. But I did do a lot of directing. And I was an assistant director to Miriam, and then then a co-director, and then I directed with Lorraine Metro, who many people around here don't really remember, but she was my co-director. We directed a lot of plays. We did Broadway plays. We did a lot of Neil Simon. We did Plaza Suite. We did, what else did we do?
Sounds of Music.
Well, Miriam wrote Sounds of Music because it was a takeoff on Sound of Music. We weren't allowed to, but we did. It was wonderful, a wonderful production. They were all good productions. They were just, Neil Simon was wonderful to do his plays.
And Sarah, what about you?
I was mainly a makeup artist.
She still is.
We mostly did makeup for all of the shows, and there was one woman that worked with me, and she must have to be mentioned. Her name was Doris Horn.
We've
She
interviewed Doris
is
Horn.
still alive, living in our village, and she's 102 years old.
104.
104.
She's 104.
She and I worked together, but there was only one show that I really loved. I was with a young man at that time, and full tuxedo, and I was in a gorgeous gown with a fur wrap, and we danced the foxtrot because it was that type of a variety show. And we danced the foxtrot all around the stage, and we were billed as Ginger Rogers and Fred
I
Astaire.
love it.
That was my big moment.
We didn't also do just Broadway plays because we do 2 productions a year. So the in-between production was called Bits of Hits.
Okay.
And I worked with David Wolf and Irene Wolf, and the 4 of us just did things together. Variety. They were wonderful shows. Wonderful.
It sounds like it was a wonderful 25 years. The 4 of you, did you work together in many productions?
Yes.
Yes.
So what was the ultimate favorite show you were in or did makeup for or whatever? Sarah, we'll start with you.
Well, I did all of the shows, and I really, they were all, everybody always gave their very best. I don't think I could pick one that I thought was really ultimate, because every single one of them were big hits at the time, and you couldn't really say that this is the best, because they were all different, and you couldn't, break them apart. Every one of them, they gave their all, and everybody loved each other.
That's absolutely the truth.
Do you have a favorite moment or a favorite show that you were in, Florence?
Well, I was probably the man who came to dinner,
Oh, and why you?
because I had the Anne Sheridan role, and I was put into a sarcophagus, and everyone said, "How do you breathe in there?" I said, "I have air. I'm okay." And we did the entire show. What was his name? The star. Do you remember? He was a Broadway player. He was a
Paul Nixon.
no. The big guy. And,
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember his name. If I had any programs, I would know. But he came over to me,
Yeah.
and at the end of the first act of that play, and he said, "You have been the most improved player." And he was from New York. He came.
Okay, so he was the real thing.
Yeah. I wish I could. He was beautiful. He was a
It'll come to you one day.
Yeah,
It's like-
3 o'clock in the morning, you'll be
So
sleeping.
I won't call anybody.
And Judy, what about you?
Well, probably the one I remember the most and I loved was when I sang with Dale Haas, who is no longer with us, but had this fantastic voice. And thank God he chose me to sing duets with him. And we sang in all 4 of my shows. The USO and Italy, I sang with our wonderful guy who is no longer in the Western Airs, but he was just a great singer. Wait a minute, the person will come to me. Our big guy,
John.
Yes,
Tilson?
John Telfer. John Telfer and I sang, and he wore in USO in Italy. He wore his own military gear because he was a retired major in the army, and so he had his own costume. We didn't have to go looking for one. But I sang with 2 of the best voices I've heard ever in the place, and I was thrilled to be chosen to do them with them. But I love the USO in Italy was just a favorite. That's all.
And John does have a wonderful
Oh,
voice.
yes.
He does.
Yes. And you should have heard Dale.
Yes.
Dale was classically trained.
Yes.
He was just,
I understand there was just so much talent back in
Yes.
the day. I mean, it was just overflowing.
yeah.
But people worked very hard to learn lines. They really put themselves into it.
Yes.
I mean, they realized that we have to do this, and
Script.
Yes.
they studied. I remember I used to walk a lot, and I would do my, I'd go for exercise, and I'd have script was with me from the time I was assigned a part.
It's a lot of practice to memorize all those lines.
Tell me
really.
about it.
Don't forget that some of the lines were written on our hands. So when you did something and you couldn't think of the thing, so you had it there.
So we also had cards on the table that was the prop,
Okay.
and you try not to look at them, but so at the corner of your eye, what was that line,
Ellie, what was your big moment, your best memory of?
Actually, I had 2.
Okay, tell us about
One
them.
was, as Florence pointed out, I don't have a singing voice. So I paid Cecily, his administrative assistant, and like I always said, you have to be smart to play stupid. And Cecily she was very sweet, but she was very flighty. And the director said, Cecily, you'll be in the show, but you'll be my assistant. And your job is to get everybody on stage on cue. What's a cue? And then he said, Cecily, would you get me a cup of coffee? Yeah, in Wawa. I said, which one? And then my other part was Plaza Suite. I played with Paul Nixon. Florence said, you can do it. Sure. I was in bed. All you saw was my legs because I was the hooker.
we were hiding her. That was the play. Plaza Suite.
I did see some pictures of some ladies in bed in some negligees.
Oh, that was you? No, that was,
that was-
the senator who slept all night with
Yeah.
I don't know. The senator, I
Then
forgot that.
Miriam Schuster, may she rest in peace. We did Sounds of Music again.
Yeah.
And she said,
Yes, we
nobody
did.
plays the part of Cecily except Ellie. So I was Cecily again. And that was my big moment.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, is there anything else you would like to say about being in the Players Club before we close out this interview?
Yes, I felt that when we worked very hard because, as Florence said, we had to learn a script. But there were scripts behind the scenes on the board. Remember?
Well, at one
Lindy,
point,
remember Lindy?
at one point, I was a prompter, and actually it was George
Spencer.
Sussman
Oh, Seymour,
Harriet Seymour Sussex.
Seymour Sussex.
He was supposed to be on that side, but I was on this side. So he changed where he was, so he could hear, because he could never learn lines. And then we would put things, post pages on the door that he had to come through. Yeah, we had tricks of the trade.
Oh, yeah. There were notes everywhere. If you just moved something on a table, it would really upset the whole 4 people sitting there, because it was the person on the right's lines that are in front of him now. So there went that whole scene.
So that's how you guys remembered all your lines.
Yeah, a lot of the times.
Well, it took a lot of hard work and time.
Oh, yes.
What was the show that I had to change 4 times? I was in the front desk, I was in the back.
But the most important thing was that everybody was good to each other.
Yes.
And they all became family.
That's very true.
Each one helped the other. And if you missed a line and you happened to remember it, somehow you got it to them.
Yeah, it was true.
There's something about being together on stage that brings people together, and at the end of the show, you're so glad you've done it. You become family. It's a connection that you'll never understand unless you've been in a show and you've been an actor behind the scenes. But it is, I'm a newer Players Club member because I got to retire 3.5 years ago, and I said, oh, I want to join that. And when I retired, I did. And there's just something about it that brings us all together.
Right.
But we always got rave reviews.
I had some of them, but because we used to have a newspaper, not a magazine, so we did get.
So you did get a review then?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Always good ones.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for sharing 25 or so years of the Players Club. It was so wonderful to interview you all. I am Christina Basile, interviewing with KLVW-TV, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Players Club. So here I have Doris Horn, and she's been with the Players Club for years, and we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Players Club. And Doris, I've got a couple questions for you. I know you're 104 years old, but how many years were you with the Players Club? You were not with the Players Club 100 years, I don't think.
Probably 60, 70 years old. And I chose to come to Beasley Village West when I was looking at the places to move to retire. And they were rehearsing The Man Who Came to Dinner in the hall. And I thought, this is it.
And what year was that? Do you remember?
I can't remember exactly. My mind is like a sieve. It goes through and comes out the other end, and I can't catch it.
That is okay. What did you do for the Players Club?
Well, I was mostly behind the scenes because they had directors, but I made sure that the clothes that the actors were wearing was the right period and the right time. I made sure that all the technical things were as they should be.
Awesome. And what were some of your best moments in the Players Club?
Let's see. there's so many, I can't pick any particular ones out because I just enjoy behind the scenes so much.
So you did makeup, scenery, you made sure the
Yeah.
clothes were the right setting and period time.
Yes,
And,
everything was, technically everything was right.
and what was your favorite show that you did?
So many, how can I pick out one?
So you just enjoyed your whole time with the Players
Yeah,
Club.
I did.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. I have,
Once in a while, we'd have somebody come in who wanted to change things and do something different, and everybody raised their voices and say, no, 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 we could keep it this way.
okay, all right. It seems to be the same. But we still have fun in the Players Club. I have enjoyed being in my little couple of years in the Players Club. But I have one more question for you. Where was the first place you started rehearsing? Was it at Willow, or was this before you started rehearsing at Willow?
So I started,
Were the first shows at Leisure Fair, or were they at Willow Hall for you?
Willow Hall, I started rehearsing because that was the other was just being finished.
Okay. So you did all you since you were in the Players Club. They've been performing in Willow Hall.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to say about being in the Players Club before we close our interview?
No, it's just been a happy, fun time. Everybody was, once in a while I have a little thing, but most of the time everybody was excited and enjoying what they were doing. We were giving entertainment to the residents of the village, and sometimes a little bit of, fuss, but most of the time it ran very smooth, very nice. Everybody was agreeable. Once in a while somebody comes in and wants to stir up. So,
And that's always the way it is. There's got to be a little drama when you're performing drama, right? Well, Doris, that was so wonderful to talk to you. You're 104 years old. That's so amazing. And you look like you're 80.
I said to my grandkids and family members, I said, ask your friends how many people do they know that's 104 years old.
Not many. You're the only one I know who's 104, But anyway, thank you so much for being part of this 50th anniversary and letting me come into your home and interview you. That's for our 50th year anniversary for the Players Club. Doris Horn, a long-term member. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. We have Seymour here, who's been a member of the Players Club, and we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Players Club. So I'm just going to do a little interview with Seymour and ask him a couple questions about what was so great about being in the Players Club now and then. So, Seymour, tell me, how long have you been a member?
Well, we came to Leisure Village West in 2005, September 20th. So it's 19 years now.
Wow.
We're one of the old timers now. And it was too late before we left for Florida to go into the Players Club that year. But the following year, I went to the first meetings, and I liked what I saw. The people, the professionalism of the place. And the following year, I began my acting career, so to speak, with the Players Club. And I've been in 4 productions afterwards until I had some issue, a health issue, and I couldn't continue. But I continued as a member throughout all these years together with my wife, and we've been going to all of the activities. People have changed, the leadership has changed, but there was a time in the beginning when this was really professional theater. We did theater. And what I'm going to talk about in a few moments is 4 of the productions I was in that we had to rehearse, a real rehearsal with learning our lines. There was no looking at any karaoke or any photos or anything. We knew lines, long lines. I used to walk each morning and talk to myself. Now it's very prevalent that people walk around and talk to themselves because they have things in their ear and everything. But that's how I rehearsed. And it was wonderful. We had tremendous directors. One I recall particularly, Miriam Schuster, Florence Markowitz was very much involved. There was a gentleman whose name I don't recall. He was the first director I worked with. He was an actor also. And it was a woman who used to do the makeup. It really was professional.
So let me ask you, what was your favorite character that you played?
Well, a dual character. I did 4 shows. Well, the first one that I got involved with, and this is why I have this doll here, this bear, is we did this show, and I have a photo of it. This is the cast, one of the photos.
And what show was that?
It was the Curious Savage, about a woman who was brought by her children to a nursing home. And that was Florence Markowitz playing the role beautifully. And I recall her saying, "Is this going to be my destiny?" Sort of along those lines. And she's carrying this doll. And this was given to all of us after the show ended. I've kept it all these years.
And what year was this, 2005?
2000, no, this one was a bit later. It was not too much later. It was 2007.
Okay, that's a long time.
2007, it's 17 years,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the doll. I still keep it at home all these years. Then the one that I remembered most was the what did they call it then? Hotbed Hotel. That was really hot. We had so many costumes. As a matter of fact, it even required my stripping on stage, getting undressed on stage.
So that was your favorite role, really, stripping
Well,
in front of everybody.
But no, I played a dual role. Here is a picture of the cast taking a bow, and there I'm dressed as the British colonel. But I also played the role of the Arab sheik. We were the same person.
Okay.
And at the end, and then you could see the young woman in the bedroom.
Yes.
It was like 2 different settings. We had multiple settings and everything.
Wow.
That was
The
a
scenery
very
was
exciting.
great, too.
The scenery was great. The direction was great. The help was great. We were professional. It was really professional theater.
How long would you rehearse for a play like this?
Several months, about 3 months, yeah, at least 3 months.
And how did you build the sets?
We had people who were working on it. It was a combination of staff from the community and volunteers.
So they would build the backgrounds and everything?
They
Wow.
did that. We also had people, for example, in this situation where I had to change costumes, we had a woman, she and her husband, unfortunately, they're both gone. They helped me in changing and dressing as well as the others. This was Broadway, our little Broadway. It was great.
It is fun being a member of the Players Club. I enjoy being in the show, so I can imagine you only had a great time.
Oh, it was a marvelous time. And then I was in this play, where it was another one that was called The Night of January 16th, 2010, and that was about a trial that we had to do.
Okay.
And the last one I got involved with in 2009 was Bits and Hits. So we did, this was more musical, comedy, and here I am again doing some shtick that I was doing in the program. So it was it's like a career. It was really great.
Well, you're kind of a natural, Seymour.
Well, I do like theater. I do like music. I wanted to be in theater, as a matter of fact, but you had to make money, so I became a social worker.
There you go. You always have to have a job. Unfortunately, we can't always do what we
Today, it's a different world, and people don't feel, in that generation was, you graduated school, college if you went to it. Not everyone did nor needed to go. And you met someone, you got married, you had a family. That was it, and that was life. And it's been a beautiful life. Today, a lot of the young people don't get married till much later. They want careers.
Or they don't get married at all.
Or they don't get married at all. Well, they still have children, though, but they don't
Well-
get married at all. And
A lot of times the house comes, the children
we
come,
see that
and
in our
they-
family as well. But the thing is that there's a delay, and people can pursue their aspirations in their career more than people felt that they had the time or the obligation to do in the past.
Well, Seymour, I just want to ask you one last question. What was your famous memory or your best memory from being in the Players Club?
I'd have to say the people I worked with. We were a family. We worked together. We loved each other. We had the final closing luncheon. But we got to know each other. And just a few weeks ago, I had to be in the emergency room of the hospital. And there I meet a guy that I was in this program with, the trial. And we hadn't seen each other maybe 10 years or more. And we remembered, and there we are sitting in the hospital reminiscing about what our time was like together. It was really good. We still enjoy the Players Club. It's changed leadership. It's grown. There was a time when it was worried about continuing. There's been some wonderful new people coming along. And we had Lillian here who ran it for a number of years, Lillian Haas. She did a magnificent job during very difficult times of change, keeping it going and forward.
And she's still with us.
And
helping
she's
us
still
keep
with
it
us,
going.
thank goodness, yes. But now we have more men, new people coming into it. And they're doing a great job of creative programming, amazing programming. And I think it's a boon for this community that we have a Players Club. And they have good crowds. They have good crowds for their programs and wonderful attendance at meetings. We go to Florida, but I'm wistful at this point. How long do I want to continue going? There's so much going on here. You know, we are not without activity in this community.
No, there's always something
Right.
to do. I have to say, as a newer member of the Players Club, I really enjoy being in the Players Club.
And they also used to do things like this. This was given to me by Miriam Schuster, a tribute. I was playing the major. That was the British Colonel Major at the time. So we got this little trophy. I'm very sentimental. I keep these things. And then they gave this to all of the cast. You are the star, with a key to the bedroom. That was for Hotbed Hotel. I have the key still from the bedroom.
I love it. I love it.
So it was so creative. You just didn't do a show, but even the directors afterwards felt that they wanted you to remember. And as you can see, I have these memories. I have not forgotten. And they were beautiful times.
Well,
And I'm
Seymour,
grateful.
that is a wonderful tribute to our 50th anniversary.
Absolutely, and I hope many more. I won't be around for another 50 or that.
You never know.
But, well, somewhere's not down here. But the thing is that for those who live this, and even before I came, they did fantastic shows. And those who will go forward in the future, I'm sure will be, hopefully, equally as happy as I have been. As I look back and remember, these were truly the best of times.
Well, thank you so much, Seymour. As
Thank
we
you.
go to our next 50 years here in LVW,
As we say in Yiddish, alavai, God willing.
God willing. Thank you so much. Seymour Brotman,
Thank you.
celebrating 50 years, not his 50 years, but 50 years. in the
Almost
Players
double.
Club.
I'm going on double.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Seymour.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christina Basile, the Vice President of the Players Club, and I am here with Lillian Haas. She is the Players Club historian, and we are celebrating our 50 years as the Players Club. And Lillian is here to tell us about the glorious 50 years that we are celebrating. And we are so happy to talk about it, and we're always looking for new members. So maybe if you hear some of the history of our wonderful club, you'll run out and you'll join us. So Lillian, I understand this club is the third oldest club
Yes.
in the village.
There
When
were
did
only two clubs that were formed before ours, the Western Airs and the Garden Club, and then came the West Village Players Club.
and when did you get together, and where did you get together?
Well, in 1973, there were some residents here who liked the idea of being on stage or being involved in a theater. And they went to the association and said, could we start a theater group here? So between 1973 and 1974, they managed to get a group together. They got themselves organized. They got officers. They got objectives, which was basically to entertain and to give people here a chance to entertain. And went to the board and said, you know, Willow's not really set up here for us to have a theater group. In the meantime, they had gone to the old village over on Route 70 and borrowed lights and props and stuff so they could do their first couple of productions. The association here came back to them and said, okay, here, we're going to give you some money. You're going to pay us back, and you can go buy some equipment that you need. And that's how the original equipment was bought here for Willow Hall. They did 2 productions in 74 and 75. The first one was one acts. The second one was a little more involved, and it became, here's the playbill from the one acts program, and here's the cover for the Solid Gold Cadillac, which was their second production.
Now, were these musicals or were they just dramas?
They were both dramas. The interesting thing is when they put into this newspaper that they had back there that they were going to have these productions, for the first one, for the one acts, 69 people from the village showed up to be part of this production.
Wow.
The second one, the Solid Gold Cadillac, they got 89 people showed up to be part of this production. They always were very well attended. They paid back the money that they had borrowed from the board by the sale of tickets. Later in the 90s, the Willow Hall needed more equipment, and the Players Club then donated $3,000 at that time for them to buy additional equipment. We also helped them get teleprompters in around 2019, somewhere along there. So they've always been contributing to Willow Hall because that's where we've had most of our productions, sometimes encore, if it fit the program better. Over the years, we've done musicals and dramas and comedies, some of them much more involved than others.
What were some of your favorite?
Well, I'm only here 9 years, so my favorites, I don't have one. I guess those that my husband would have sung in would probably be my favorites, but I really can't pick one. I'm a backstage person. I don't get out on the stage. But I love being involved in it, all the details, getting everything lined up the way it has to be done. Years ago, they would do these tremendous sets. They had people that would work, 10, 12 people would work on creating a set, and they would have windows that worked and doors that worked and furniture and carpets and paintings hanging on the wall, and they were really, really into that. Sometimes they would do a production that involved New York City, and they would get the costumes and the scripts and the music and the makeup even from New York. Other times they would use all the local talent that we had here, and we have so much of it here.
And we still have a ton of talent here.
Unfortunately, we don't have crews to build sets anymore. Back then, they would have 10, 12 people working on building a set. If it was a musical, the pit band might be one person, or it might be as many as 12 people in the pit band.
Wow.
So that each time they did a production, it was something different. I have playbills of at least 85 productions that they've done over the years, but I'm missing some because we know they did 2 a year. And one year they only did one, and they brought somebody down from New York City, a singer from New York City, to be the second production. I have no idea why. I can't find any information, but that was different. We've always been extremely visited by the residents when we would do something. We always had a lot of people show up to be our audience, because what good is a show if you don't have an audience? One year in 1971, something like that, there was a 2-night show. They sold 975 tickets for a 2-day show.
Wow.
Yeah, that was one of our better objects.
We still get a good audience.
We do.
have a very
We do.
supportive village. I have to say that the people here in the village are very supportive of our performances. They realize that we're here just to have fun and
Right.
to go on with the show. I mean,
During COVID, this is kind of interesting. During COVID, we were the only club that could function. All the others were closed down. And how did we do that? We got involved with the television studio, and we used something new at that time called Zoom. It was a real experience between the studio learning how to do it and the actors learning how to do it, each one in their own home, getting zoomed in on time. We did 4 productions. Each one got a little bit better. Not Broadway, but it was entertainment for the time period when everybody was stuck at home.
that's awesome. I mean, Zoom shows, that's cool. Everybody was doing everything on Zoom, so, why not do a play on Zoom?
That's just true. We have loads of material in our bins. We're very lucky that most of it has survived the weather in the shed where it's stored. But if anybody out there has something they would like to donate to the archives, we would be more than willing to take that from them. Our motto is there's no business like show business. And the Players Club has been providing that to Leisure Village West for the last 50 years, and we're going to keep going.
Lillian, thank you so much for interviewing with us and giving us a little bit of the 50-year history of the Players Club. As I said before, let's go on with the show and join the Players Club because it's a lot of fun. We have stuff to do behind the scenes. We can use some actors and singers, and the show must go on. Thank you so much, Lillian.
Anytime.
Hi, I'm Christina Basile, and we're here to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Players Club. And right now I'm going to interview Robin London, our president, and she is going to tell us what the future holds for the Players Club for the next, say, 10 years, maybe 50.
No.
Who knows?
Well, I don't hold a crystal ball, but I do hold some ideas. And I'd love for more people to join the club so we can have a great, great club with a variety of people. There are many talented people here in the village that are not using their talents to the fullest. We don't only do plays, we have great meetings with fun stuff, and I plan on having wonderful fun meetings. And the shows will be also wonderful. You don't have to act. You could help with stage, you can help with prep. There's so many more things to do in the Players Club other than act in the plays.
We've also had many shows that are interactive. So it's a little ad-lib too. It's not always total memorization. It's ad-libbing also. The Players Club is so awesome. So what types of shows, what do we do in the fall? What is the shows we do in the spring?
Well, we do one musical a year, and then we do one drama or comedy or something different. Hopefully, we'll be able to do some more interactive shows. I believe in interaction with the audience, that the audience always get involved, but not to only stress the plays. The Players Club does so many fun things once a month in our meeting. So it's not only about the shows, it's also about the fun meetings that we have. We play games, we have entertainment, we have all kinds of stuff. So please join us. You'll have a different feeling of what a Players Club is.
So that's just a little bit of what the future holds for our Players Club. Please come out and join the Players Club. It really is a good time, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's only $7 membership. And then the meetings are free.
How can you beat that? And the entertainment in the meetings is free if you are a member. So come on out and join the Players Club. Thank you, Robin London.
You're welcome. Hope to see you all there.
Okay.